Okay, is everything working? Hello everyone, welcome to the MudRoom, our weekly free and live Uncommon Sense parenting class. Facebook's being a little weird, so let me know if this isn't working the way that it should be. We seem to be having a massive amount of lag today, and I'm not entirely sure why. Today is Remembrance Day here in Canada. So I hope everyone was able to attend a service this morning, even if it was virtually watching a service on TV, which is what I think most of us did. As you may or may not know, depending on how new you are around here, we're a military family. My husband has been in the Canadian Forces for 14 years. So every day is Remembrance Day in our family. Every day my husband goes to work, and I'm not entirely sure that he's going to come home. So Remembrance Day has a bit of a different tone for me because I'm not only remembering the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, but I'm also acutely aware and thinking of the families that were left behind. I'm sure any of you who have had a spouse go away, even just like on a short business trip for literally any length of time, know just how disruptive and difficult that is. So imagine never really knowing when that's going to happen, where they're going, or how long they're going to be gone, and the very real possibility that they're never going to come back. Every military family sacrifices so much to make it possible for the serving member to do their job. So while I'm thinking of all my fellow military families today, especially, know that if you're a military family, you're in my heart and on my mind always. Okay, so before we get into our topic today, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Allana Robinson, and I'm a parenting coach for parents of toddlers, preschoolers, and kindergartners. I help you understand why your children are misbehaving and how to fix it without yelling, shaming, or timeouts. If you're watching, I'd love for you to say hi and tell me how your day is going. If you're watching a replay, drop a replay in the comments. And don't forget to ask questions, like, and subscribe so that you never miss another class. So, we've had a lot of talk in the posse lately about kids refusing to apologize after transgressing against another one of their peers or siblings or even adults. Apologies are one of those things that really kind of make us panic as parents because they're so ingrained in our culture, especially if you're from like Canada or the UK, which get kind of internationally ragged on for how quick we are to apologize, and even like to things like inanimate objects. I have literally apologized to the corner of a wall in my home for bumping into it. But that's kind of the problem. Apologies have been hammered into us, and now they're just unconscious. They really don't mean anything. They're a cultural etiquette thing that we've somehow retained, even though most other do it for the sake of politeness niceties like holding the door open for people and standing when other people enter a room have all gone the way of the dodo. So it's no wonder that our kids are having difficulty learning to apologize or apologize out of hand and then don't really alter their behavior afterwards, because honestly, we don't model that for them. We hold children to a higher standard than we do literally anyone else. And I do understand the theory behind that. It's, like learning to do anything. You need to do it by the book until you master it, and then you can start going off script. But we don't actually learn that way. We just create bad habits that way. So, how do we teach children to make amends when they behave poorly? Well, first and foremost, we need to pause before we demand an apology from our children and just take a hot second to think about whether something is actually their fault. Often we're asking children to apologize for not meeting a developmentally appropriate demand. And that's not their fault, it's ours. We expected too much of them, and then we're essentially victim blaming them when they can't do it. And insisting that they apologize for not being able to do something that they can't physically or mentally accomplish yet, through no fault of their own, is training them to apologize even when they aren't actually sorry. It's reinforcing this concept that the words have no meaning. It's something that we say to get out of an uncomfortable situation. It's like a magic bullet that means that we can do literally anything, and as long as we throw out a sorry afterwards, everything magically rights itself. And then we add layers to it as they get slightly older. Say it with the right body language, downcast your eyes, have the appropriately remorseful tone of voice. Until around age 7, when we expect that by now, they should know not to do what they've apologized for anymore. Only, that's never really what we've taught them to do. We just assume that that's the logical outcome of shaming them. It's not. So before you go saying, say sorry, stop for a second and think, how did I expect them to know what to do instead of what they did? If you can't answer that question, the person who should be apologizing is actually you. Second, we want to go back to the basics and be teaching our children what to do. When we teach children what to do, apologies become almost irrelevant because we focused on teaching our children the actual appropriate response to messing up, hurting someone, or not knowing what to do. And we do this using the logical consequence process. I just had to do it the other night with my 4-year-old because he kind of pistol whipped his brother with a lightsaber. A plastic toy lightsaber. It's the best way I know how to describe it. But instead of saying, say sorry, I asked him, what do we do when we hurt someone? And he did. He had to think about it for a second, but he came up with comfort them and make them feel better. So then, completely of his own accord, he went and he grabbed an ice pack from the fridge. He got a clean kitchen towel and he wrapped the ice pack in it and he offered it to his brother. And without any prompting, he then gave a genuine apology. He gave him a hug. He said, I'm sorry I hurt you. I was aiming for your neck. I didn't mean to hurt you. And they hugged and they set some new rules of engagement and then they went back to